Good morning, Shauna, and everybody else out there in photo world. It's Rob here in my cubbyhole down in my cave, my office. Shauna, you sent me an email requesting some feedback on images, and you were asking a specific question about a high key image. So I'm going to answer both your questions in the best of my ability. First thing I want to do is talk about the images you sent and you asked. I'm thinking you asked for feedback, very straightforward, and I'll do that now. And that image is right here. One of a few, anyways, little baby images. This is excellent. I mean, I see nothing wrong with this. I would have taken the man's watch off, maybe. The lighting is perfect. This is a lighting that I use a lot in my studio for this particular pose. And I also use this a lot with the dad bare chested, bring the baby up high, 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 and get the dad profile inches away from the baby. So I'm not sure if he had done that. Of course, the belly button, we can always clone that out or just leave it in. But the lighting here is excellent. The baby's got a kind of a squinchy face, so not sure if the baby only let you get one shot off here, but when I'm doing these newborns, I kind of just slow right down and just get the dad to rock the baby and make sure the studio's warm and soothing white noise. Oh, that's the one, the high key. We'll talk about that in a minute. Come on, let's go. There we go. This image here is nice. You have, see, when I'm shooting, I try and tweak it a little bit. So if I were in the studio and the dad was doing exactly this, I'd go, oh, nice shot. But I'd stop, think, analyze, scrutinize, look. Assuming everything else is on your side, the studio's warm, you got some nice calm white noise going on, etc., etc. You know you got a pretty good chance of getting a few poses off right here. Look at Dad's right hand. The claw of doom. It's very claw-like. So I would ask the dad, and if let's say the dad's name is Sam, because he's got an S on his shoulder. I'm assuming it means Sam. Or Super Sam. So I'd say, Sam, can you just back your hand up a little bit onto the your baby's back? And that would expose the baby a little bit more. Actually, you know what? Let me show you right now, real quick. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to my website. Sorry about this. I just thought might as well. Let's go to the blog, babies and children, and the image I want to show you is from a recent one. Well, that's not what I was getting at, but that's one pose. I'm getting there. Sorry about this. This is important. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, there's the one I was talking about earlier in reference to, well, I guess you were kind of doing it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even get to this image yet, but I was talking about the image prior with the belly button. Look at the distance, though. Got to get the baby's face in close. Okay, I'm not sure if you have a light on this side here, but probably a good thing to have a light in behind Dad, not on this side. Sorry, this is a bad arrow. So the light's coming from behind and skimming over here and lighting up the baby. Okay, that's what I got right here. And I got a light coming this way, and there's a light coming this way. Soft boxes. Alright, now, oh crappy. How can I get to the next page? Alright. Let me just help you out here. Hold on. Oh, there it is. It must be early in the morning. Not enough coffee. Coming. It was from months ago. It's here though. You tell it'll do a lot of babies, little children, upside down babies. Now you see that again, there's that pose I showed you earlier. Again, a similar one. That's a similar one too, but this is different. I don't know, I just was getting off track here and doing it on the high key, which is nice. Wow, look at that image. It's taking up a lot of space. So there's an image of here that's coming up soon of a dad holding the little baby. There it is. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that one there. That's the one I was looking for. Alright, now when I look at this one, okay, the look at the hand and look at the baby's hand. See, I actually would go in there and grab the baby's hand and bring it up along here, and I would just get my fingers under the baby's chin and just nudge it up a little more to expose the baby a little more, and try and get the feet out too. I know I didn't on this one, but because the pose just kind of worked, I ran with it. But in this particular instance, you got room here to kind of modify it, to get this hand placed a little better, and to get the baby's hand, maybe feet. So you got the baby's foot right here. Bing! It's kind of peeking out. So, you know, tweak these things. So, and your main light coming over here, it's kind of, it's a little bit flat, I'm thinking. So, you know, and of course, once you work the image up, I'm at the burn tool right now. Okay, I opened up the burn tool. Come on. I'm bringing a bigger brush in. There we go. You burn that down a little bit. You know what? Let me size that down. That's too big to be running all these resources. There we go. Okay, come on. Burn that down a little more. You know, and you can do sort of that sort of thing later. Maybe run a little bit of Topaz. Topaz Adjust, one of my favorite plugins, but the only plugin that I really use, which does an amazing job on black and whites. Okay, now that's a little bit too heavy, but we're going to hit Shift Control F. We're going to back it up, or you can go to Edit Fade. So I went from that, and you adjust how much you want. You see the nice effect it has? All right, let's run one of my favorite soft focus actions, the Nobius Hajisoft. See, so we're kind of taking an image that's, in my opinion, not ideal as far as lighting and posing is concerned, and you kind of, you know, working through the techniques in Photoshop. We're giving a little more pizzazz and art. And of course, you could crop it in like that. But, you know, remember to tweak hands, angles, elbows, feet, yada, yada, yada. Alright. Same on that one. Okay, that's the high key shot. I think I covered your CC. I mean, you're pretty much doing an awesome job on the baby shots. I mean, I would say those images are very sellable, but if you want to make them, bring them up a notch to the level of, yes, blow your clients away. Alright, a couple more minutes I'm going to spend on this image. Now, your question about this image was, you said it looked overexposed and or the colors looked a little bit pink. Okay, I'll give you that. The colors look a little bit pink. I opened up a high key image from one of my sessions. Alright, you see the difference in the skin tones. However, having said that, I wouldn't worry too much. See, what I always discourage people from doing is every time they have an image, they go in and try and fix the white balance. And you'll notice in my photography, Digital Photography 6 Photographic Myths, 6 Lies, I talk about that. If you're adjusting white balance in post-production, in my opinion, you're just creating headaches, heartaches, and a lot more work than you know, and it's just too many loose ends that you have to tie up later. So what I do is in my studios, I have a custom white balance on my camera, and I may reshoot that custom white balance once every few months. Sometimes I'll go 6-7 months without even shooting it. And then I know in my studio, my lights, that custom white balance, if I'm off a little bit, it's not even that big a deal. you're not off by much here. I mean, it's not that bad. So if you're shooting on automatic white balance in your studio, I would change that and shoot for a custom white balance. Learn how to do it. It's not that hard. It's really, really easy. On a Canon, I know they use a white sheet of paper. You measure the reflection off your main light, and I prefer a gray card, but I shoot Canon. I find it work. I shoot Nikon. I find it works a little bit better. So to shoot a custom white balance off a gray card. Apparently you can do both, white card or a gray card, as long as it's a neutral piece of material. So, looking at this image, your exposure is not that bad, so I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't go in and start all of a sudden, go play with colors, use saturation. Maybe you can increase the saturation or decrease the saturation. I wouldn't even do that, because color balance would be the worst thing to do. And where are we? Selective color. When I shoot and I need to add some red to the skin tone, I go into the red channel under selective color and I decrease the cyan. Okay, see how it works? Okay, so if you want to decrease red, but then you see, you got to do that for every image, and you really want to get it in camera. So that's my whole point here. And I want to go back to my original point, and that is that this image is pretty good. Let me do one thing here. Let me just analyze the tones. We're going to analyze the color. So I'm going to open up the info palette. Let's get rid of that. And we're going to analyze the RGB. Let's go to 3x3 average. Okay, your background, look at that. Look at RGB. Your background's perfect. 255. It's probably, 255 is the highest you can go for pure white. Okay, so let's look at the skin tones. You're not overexposed, because if you were overexposed, that would be 255. I mean, you're getting up there. Oh, there's a little bit of overexposure on the reds. Notice on the RGB, the R is 255. So you do have a little bit of reds in there, and you have a little bit of overexposure. But again, not a big deal. So I wouldn't agonize trying to see. Just some photographers end up trying to correct things that, in their opinion, they need correcting, and that would be a journey into madness as far as I'm concerned. So you really, really want to get it 99.9% right in camera, so that your workflow, you're really saving a lot of time. Post-production, you're not worrying about those things. You're just worrying about doing the basics. And again, I'm going back to this point that this image is not that far off. I would easily sell this. So let's assume a couple things here. We've done some retouching. And again, if you want to see some retouching, I don't know if you remember No BS Photo Success or not, but there's some free Photoshop retouching tutorials. They're all good. So high key images, make your images pop. The fairy portrait workflow is good. I mean, you can cross that over into any image. Okay, I'm going to knock this down, because you sent me a full size image. Let's just knock it down to 18 by 12 at 100. So let's try. I'm just playing here. I just want to see if I can salvage. I'm going to go to duplicate layer, blend mode, multiply. I'm going to take that top layer. Oh, I get these weird lines. I don't know what that's all about. So that's just one technique for dark, and I don't know why this is happening to me. See those lines? Usually that's not the case. I am working on my laptop, but if you wanted to try darkening an image, that's one of my favorite techniques for doing that. So let's delete that. Let's open up curves. I'm just going to darken it a little bit. So I pull the mid-tone curves down a little bit. Okay? I'm not going to play too much with that. So here's what else I would do. If we had a little bit of overexposure in the cheek, and let's say they bought print, if they bought like a 5x7, I wouldn't overly concern. I'm just going to clone out that shine where it's overexposed a little bit. Let's assume we soften the lines under the eyes. I'm not going to do all that right now. Pop the speculars in the eyes, these here, brighten those up. brighten the teeth up, take out a few blemishes. Let's suppose we did that for all the girls. Okay, not going to do that now. But if I was looking at this image, it's again not bad. Let's go to Topaz. Sometimes Topaz does some wonderful funky things to skin tones. Sometimes it's too much. You gotta watch it. It can kill you. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna accept that. Then I'm gonna go in history. I'm gonna go back one state, put the history palette onto the Topaz. That's the history brush rather. So I'm gonna bring the opacity up. I'm gonna paint in the jeans. Let's make that brush size a little bit smaller. Come on. A little bit smaller. So I'm going to paint in the jeans because it does, look what it does to the texture in the jeans. It does cool things. Alright. To the tops. It does cool things to the hair. Really makes the hair texture stand out. Alright. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit more and I'm going to paint in their faces. Let me zoom that up a bit. Painting in the faces. I don't want too much of a topaz effect on the skin tones, but it does increase the contrast in a funky sort of cool kind of way. Alright? Now this would look 10 times better if I retouched again the little bit of shine and enhance the specular and take any blemishes out. Alright, let's crop that in, 8 by 10. I'm going to do something here, guys. Make a duplicate document because I'm going to compare later. Alright, final step, I'm almost done. I'm going to run a No BS Hajisoft, which is a softening action. If you're a No BS Photo Success, it's included amongst various other actions. I'm just adjusting this action a little bit. What I'm doing is I'm erasing away some of the soft on the eyes and teeth at 100%. Let's knock that down. Let's bring that up. I'm taking away some of the soft. I don't like too much soft. You know, it kind of blows back at the screen. But I do want some. Alright, so that's a fun pose. So there's the one that you sent me. There's the one I just did a really quick workflow, minus the retouching on the skin, as I mentioned already. Alright, so there we have that. And that. Let me just size this down a bit. Nope. Almost done, guys. I like watching workflow, even though the one I just did was really quick. But when I go to a live seminar or an online video tutorial, other photographers who are, you know, really working it, and they have busy studios, so, you know, from the trenches, I like watching their workflow versus watching an academic where they show you the by the book, by the manual, because a lot of this stuff is not stuff that you see in a college course, or, you know, it's just not that academic. So, but it works. So the one on the left, I did a quick workflow for you. Again, no, see, there's still a bit of shine right here in their face and all that. That would look 10 times better once you take that out. So I skipped that phase. I didn't want to bore you with those details. And pulled out a little bit of detail. And again, it's a little bit pink, but I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it's not that bad. If you had to go take out a little bit of a tone on each and every image, it'd be like, oh my God, it would drive you nuts. And of course, you could, if you wanted to, shoot raw and do everything in Lightroom. But then, I personally, it's my own personal philosophy. I know it's very popular. I just think it's not necessary in the least bit, because, you know, and this is what we do in my studio. We get the exposure and color balance down, and I shoot a lot. I shoot a lot in my studio, and we have a full-time employee who works on all our images. And I bring her well-exposed images and the workflow I do. And again, just to remind you, those, you can watch them right here. I mean, this is 98% of what we do if you watch any of these video tutorials. So, anyways, if I were to, just a final comment, if I were to reshoot this, if I were in the studio, I probably would knock the exposure down a little bit and do a custom white balance. And that's about it. Perhaps a custom white balance being the most important thing. If your tones were in a proper custom white balance capture, the fact that you're probably pushing the exposure would be not that important, because the colors would look good and it would look bright and snappy, which sometimes I do that on purpose. I really push the exposure to the wall. So anyways, I've gone overboard. I hope this has helped. All right, thanks.